Welcome to HSR Motorsport. Hello and welcome indeed to HSR Motorsport for the LMU Season 2 Championship. And we are just about to get the first race of the season underway here at Monza, another Italian circuit. Just a couple of weeks ago, WEC was at Imola, if I remember correctly. 6 hours of Imola and Ferrari won. So, who knows, maybe we could get a Ferrari 1-2, eh? One at Imola, one at Monza. We'll have to wait and see how it goes. Now, disclaimer first. I have no clue what I'm doing. It's the first time I've had to stream on this game, so I'm very unfamiliar with the controls. And I have not had time to chat to a connection of mine who actually knows what he's doing. So yeah, it's going to be a bit of a rodeo, I think. A rodeo. Anyways, we will have plenty of familiar names who are currently competing in the ACC GT3 Championship Season 7, which is running alongside this. And they're on their off week now. They only run every second week, and it will be the same for LMU as well. Of course, the ACC Championship side of things has 8 rounds compared to the 6 for LMU, so this one will finish a little bit earlier. I think around about July is kind of the rough estimate. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what the racing's like here between the hypercars and the GT3s. Again, as I've said, I have virtually no experience with this whatsoever at the moment, so yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to observe, I think. But anyways, let's get straight into the action. Qualifying has been underway for a while now. Philip Schlichting with a 125.9 in the hypercars, currently ripping it round the course. And again, as I said, I'm not experienced with this at all, so all those fancy graphics and stuff you might see from the previous DSR, I think it was a DSRT commentator last time in the 2.4 hours. Yeah, I don't know how to switch them on. So yeah, it's going to be a voyage of discovery, a journey of discovery across the course of this evening. Sean Belder is in P2 in the other hypercar. That's not a hypercar. Sean Belder 0.121 with Kenneth Dahl Peterson, only 2/10 off of them. Valentin Cordier currently P4 with Matthias Bargenk in P5. Ioannis Lavanos, finally a name I understand and a name I recognize, in P6 with Craig Hewlett in P7, also a very familiar name. Cairo Samuel also joined us towards the end of the HSR Motorsport ACC GT3 Season 6 Championship, I believe. And now he's doing hypercars, currently in P8, 1.2 seconds off the pace. Mikey Story, also a familiar name, didn't hang around for long in the ACC side of things, but you know, it's great to see him out there nonetheless. Then we've got our GT3s. Yep, we only have hypercars and GT3s out tonight. Eric Nonnenmacher, of course, 14.6 seconds off the pace, and I cannot see an initial speed. So again, we'll kind of have to take this. I don't know how to say it. We kind of just need to roll with it, I guess. That's what you could say. Anyways, he's leading the GT3 pack with Wei Long Lin, 14.8 seconds off, 2/10 off him. Then it's another 4/10 to Harold Cook, who's of course driving this exact car in the ACC Championship as well. Marios Tsapanidis, also a very familiar name, again driving the number 46 Valentino Rossi liveried BMW. George Vasilianis, also another familiar name. Stephen Melton, not too familiar with him. Nicholas Mumtaz, very familiar name with him. Christian Borgat, I like the dog. William van Lagen, Again, another familiar name, one of the DSRT drivers, Francesco Rancesco. Very nice name. Haven't seen him out on track before. Matthew Reynolds, very familiar name as well, out on the Ferrari. Isaac Bugs, but Isaac Busby in the hypercar, currently P10. Nico Dudek, familiar name. Brandon Clayton, also very familiar name. Again, another McLaren GT3 driver in ACC for DSRT. And then we're back to the hypercars. Currently Sean Belder trying to take away pole position as he makes his way around the final corner to take yet another attempt at this lap time. Can he improve by a tenth? Not this time round. He'll have to wait for the next lap and put the effort in. Again, I do apologise. I'm not too familiar with all the display stuff. It's up here? No? As you can tell, I am not very good at this yet. We will get there. We will eventually get to the point where it'll look very professional and I know what I'm doing. But for tonight, yeah, amateur on deck. Woohoo! Let's see how it goes. Kenneth Dole Peterson going over the curbs at Ascari. Down the long back straight and then into Curva Parabolica. He's got 2.5 tenths to make on the leaders. Only a tenth and a bit on Sean Belder. And there's no improvement for him yet. Again, everyone's kind of in their... everyone's gotten into a rhythm, I guess, or into their default... Would you call it default lap times? Quite sure how to say it, but everyone's kind of settled in. This is their lap time, and then they'll start pushing for even more improvements as the session goes along. What's interesting though is that it's not split quali by the looks of things. It's just full on. Everyone's out on circuit at the same time, which means that, of course, for the hypercars, they need to be aware of the LMGT3s. They need to make sure that they give themselves enough space on circuit to pull out a decent lap. And the GT3s, well, they just do their own thing. They let the hypercars do all the thinking, do all the overtaking. Because otherwise, if they try and interfere or they try and do some other stuff, yeah, it kind of just ends up being a whole mess. Oh, and I realise on the HSR side on the Twitch side of things, I didn't update the title. Apologies. Well, I can't change that now, otherwise I end up pressing some weird buttons, and then things will sound very weird. Yes, so it's going to be very interesting to see whether. Well, I mean, probably nothing's going to change with the with the broadcast side of things. Currently, Sean Belder trying to retake P2 after Peterson managed to take P2 away from him. P3 at the moment. Isaac Busby up into P4 after struggles earlier on in the session in the Porsche. Valentin Cordier in P5, Vajenk in P6. On the GT3 side of things, we've still got Honenmacher in P1 with Lynn and Kleinen in P2 and P3. Kleinen making an improvement, and a couple of the other cars also doing so. And Busby coming to a halt on the side of the circuit, going back into the pits. Belder in the Ferrari, home ground essentially for this driver, or at least for the car. The number 51 ripping it round the circuit now under the bridge through Curva del Seraglio into Variante Ascari. Quite conservative on the beginning of that section, but I think this is kind of his setup lap, not quite sending it full 100% yet. And I see some of the comments. Solo quali so similar to iRacing. Everyone is on track, however, they can't see each other. I see. So, for us though, well, I don't think we get to see everyone, but, yeah. Well, we don't get to see multiple cars on track. Yeah, I see. Gotcha. If only qualifying in real life worked like this. If only we could get these drivers to go around and not see each other, no one interfere with each other. And Belder, well, the gravel's just interfered with his lap, so that will probably not be a best lap time from him. All he can do is try and make it around the circuit for another attempt to take back P2. Yeah, oh well, Josh, welcome, by the way. I know it's you. Well, at least I think it's you, because you are probably the only guy, I think, who's able to run the YouTube channel for OLR, right? I'm not sure. But I can't tell, though. I can't quite tell, though. VDB SimSport, this is split 1. I don't think we have multiple splits. I believe this is... We only have hypercars and GT3s, and, you know, I think it's just this. Pretty much. Yeah, splits. No, not really. No. So just trying to get some other stuff up on screen as well. Because again, my first time doing it. Well, it might be. It might not be. Yeah. You've just confirmed it. I think you've just confirmed it. Brandon Clayton on the GT3 side of things has just taken pole position, 2/10 clear of Nonnenmacher, and Harold de Cook is climbing the grid as well, up to P4. Jean Belder still hammering around circuit, trying to catch up to Peterson, now into the long left-hander, into the braking zone, under the bridge, and then through Ascari. Once more, we always seem to find them at this point of the circuit, don't we? Sorry, just trying to get this thing going. Yeah, I do apologise for the unprofessionalism tonight. It has been a long week, and it has also been, as I said, you know, it's my first time using this, so yeah, not quite sure not quite sure what to expect really, as my first time both commentating on this game and watching a game. So I've tried it once. I tried driving hypercars on Spa one evening, and yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult, but it's probably because I have no clue what I'm doing. Again, completely new game. So yeah, everything's new for me when it comes to Le Mans Ultimate. But hopefully towards the end of the season, we'll at least know how it all works and have some semblance of a professional looking what do you call it, overlay. That's it. And it doesn't help, of course, that I'm not doing great when it comes to my words and stuff. I can't see my Twitch chat. That is not so very good. There we go. Now I can see that. There we go. That's it. Lovely. Cool, got that all working now. And then put that over there. There we go. Lovely stuff. Cool, got that all working now. Got that all sorted. We are making progress, but Sean Belder is not, unfortunately, still going round circuit in P3. Matthias Barzenk actually managed to make an improvement on his position, while Busby got the motor down to P5, absolutely sending it round the circuit right now. Only 400ths clear of Valentin Cordier. Not quite exactly 400ths, it's 4300ths, I guess you could call it. And suddenly we have a new P2 driver, Philip Schlichting, who I think was the initial pole position sitter when we joined the session. Currently 100. Again, sorry, numbers in me tonight. Commentator maths is not going to be fun. 100th off of Pedersen at the moment. Sean Belder in P3, Mrs. Bajank, then Busby, and most of the hypercars are now into the pits. Brandon Kleinen continues to lead the GT3s with Nonnenmacher still P2 and Wei Long Lin P3, but Nico Dudek managed to make an improvement up to P4, while the cook is still hanging on in there in the top 5, and the other drivers, well, we'll have to see how they get on. Right, let's go for a quick run. Here's Brandon Kleinen in the GT3, just into Ascari. I told you we always catch these guys into Ascari. Then we've got Harold Cook at the end of the pit lane, Tsapanidis, Moulton, Montas, Bourget. Everyone's pretty much in the pits except for Matthew Reynolds, who is in position 12 for the GT3s, currently out on circuit. No improvement for him as such. We can just about see the cars in the pits now, and yeah, we can hear all the pit guns going, all the wheel guns whirring about. Quali, like I said, I'm very new to this, so I have no clue, but I assume it's coming towards the end, because Quali was 20 minutes long and we loaded in about 8:05, and it's now 8:25 on my side, UK time. So physically timing it, we should be coming towards the end now. We should be almost at the end, hence why everyone's into the pits. But of course we will have those few drivers who aren't or are still on their flying laps. Sounds like we have only one or two. I think everyone's starting to load into the race now. Again, I do apologise for all the confusion. I'm meant to know what I'm doing here, but at the moment, yeah, I don't. 1 hour to go. Cool. Right, well, there's a quick little look at the standings. We've got Kenneth Dahl Peterson on pole position for Toyota Gazoo Racing, with Philip Schlichting alongside in P2, and then 2 Ferraris behind Sean Belder and Matthias Barjenk, with Isaac Busby rounding out your top 5. And then on the GT3 side of things, we got Brandon Kleinen in P1 for the class, Eric Nonnenmacher for P2, and Wei Long Lin P3, with Dudek and Cook behind in P4 and P5, and it's a Ferrari, McLaren, Ferrari, McLaren, Ferrari, McLaren in the top 5. We've then only got 2 other vehicle types in the top positions. Well, I say top positions, down to essentially last place, but otherwise, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I've got a long way to go with this thing, don't I? I've got a long way to go before I know what I'm doing. Yeah, the thing is, I don't want to press all the buttons, because then I might eventually accidentally shut off the stream, and then it's a big mess. Then it's a big doo-doo. So at the moment, we'll have to stick with this. Oh, turn off the timing. Right, let's see how this race start goes. At least I know how to do these. Somewhat. And it's go time. We got 10 hypercars and 13 GT3s heading down towards turn 1 this time for an hour of racing. The two Ferraris on the inside deciding to cover that inside line from another Ferrari, the yellow Ferrari being filtered out by them, but a Porsche on the inside looking to make a move into turn 1, but he'll be forced to the outside because it's a chicane up further ahead. Though we have got Philip Schlichting. No, sorry, that's not going to be Schlichting. We've got the Toyota defending from the Ferrari into turn 1. Yes, there is no chicane initially, but we get another chicane a little further down, so technically this is turn 2. Everyone fairly neat through there, and the Ferrari of Peterson. Sorry, again, things are getting going all over the place. The Ferrari takes the race lead with another two Ferraris behind. That'll be Sean Belder and Bartschenk managing to make it through. Oh my goodness, and there's a Toyota off in the background. That's Lavagnos off into the gravel. And I don't think he hit the wall too hard. But we'll see whether the damage reports come back as a positive or negative. Right at the back of the grid, though, we've got a Borjat bringing up the rear with Matthew Reynolds. I can only assume something happened there. And, of course, Lavagnos, who had that crash earlier that we saw on screen. And then going up the grid, yeah, George Vasiliadis in P4, Wei Long Lin still P3. These GT3s all still nip and tuck. Everyone's still in the same positions. Nolenmacher may be looking at an improvement here. Maybe looking for another position down into turn 2, which is going to be that chicane, but he might not have to wait that long because through the long right-hander, he's alongside and down the inside, down the main straight. Though the question is who will be ahead by the time they get to that long right-hander. The McLaren's still managing to hold on to that position just about as the Ferrari then gets filtered out. You can see in the mirror behind. Getting in that slipstream is going to be interesting to see whether he manages to get alongside for turn 2 and when he pulls out to do so. He's pulled out a couple times now, not quite maximising the slipstream as much as he can, and unfortunately into that chicane there's still nothing he can do. He's still stuck behind that McLaren. And further up though, we've got 0.7 seconds between these guys for the race lead. Dale Peterson in the Toyota, of course, being filtered out by that Ferrari towards the start, managing to make his way through in the chicane. Currently in P2, not too shabby, still holding on to that, and within a second or so of the car ahead. If you are joining us for the first time, I do apologise for the lack of information and the lack of professionalism on display this evening. I haven't had time to quite figure out all the buttons yet and chat to the guys who actually know what they're doing. So I will put that on the priority list for the weekend for sure. I actually forgot I'm busy over the weekend as well. Oh yeah. That's the reason I couldn't get around to it in the first place. Oh my goodness, and there's someone round in the background. Who is that? That is Cordier in the Cadillac. Something happened there. Let's see if we can get a replay here. That's one button I managed to remember. That's actually cool. Cool, so the two Cadillacs side by side, red on the inside, yellow on the outside. Oh my goodness, and under braking. Oh, okay, so he wasn't actually the victim. It was the other Cadillac. And he kindly allows him past and gives Zach the position. Good stuff from Cordier. Under braking, just lost the rear. Just locked the rears, went sideways, and fortunately for the yellow Cadillac, there was a red Cadillac to help him stop and get alongside. But unfortunately for the red Cadillac, it meant that he got spun round. I don't think there's too much damage to the car. He's maybe hit the wall slightly, maybe not hard. I don't know. Again, we'll have to see how it all pans out. In terms of aero, these hypercars rely a lot on aero from that rear wing. I assume also from the front splitter. Again, like I said, I am a complete and utter noob at this. I've not had time to do my research into this. Or I'm just making excuses. take your pick. Pick whichever you like. All I know is 1.5 seconds between the race leaders, and across the line, that red Cadillac seems to think he'll have to defend from Cordier into turn 1. All he's doing though is closing up his line. He's not quite getting that line right all the way through, so that he can keep his momentum up into turn 2. On the power, Cordier's already gaining. So I believe Cordier is the fastest between these two, and he'll quickly make his way past. Scott Hewlett in the background, just about managing to hold on to the rear end of these two, but he's quickly disappearing down the road as these two now start their battles. Cordier once again going to try and make his way around. Hopefully he doesn't lock the rears and crash into the fallow Cadillac as they head through Ascari. It'll be a final corner move at this point, I think, or he'll just have to bide his time and wait for turn 2. He's close enough for the slipstream though, so I think it might be a move here. Yes, it is Story defending his position as much as he can. Sorry, that is Samuel trying to defend, and Cordier makes his way around the outside, says thank you very much, I'll just use my momentum. However, Samuel on the throttle manages to stay on the inside. They're still side by side, and it'll be another right-hander at turn 1 to separate these two, although on the straights, no, on the straights they're still neck and neck. I thought I could see the yellow Cadillac maybe pulling ahead just a little bit, just to give you an idea of how close these guys are. This is it. So Cordier trying to make his way around the outside of Samuel. Under braking though, still neat and tidy. Yes, manages to make his way there. Overshoots slightly, giving Samuel just enough room round the outside. Good race in this, good space given by Mr. Cordier, managing to hold off Samuel, and he's made that position finally into that into the same corner where he actually spun out the lap before. And he was brave enough to brake very late indeed, still overshot. And Samuel tried to get alongside, tried to get the better exit around the outside of the right-hander coming directly out of it. But at the end of the day, yeah, there's nothing that he could do. But good space given from Cordier though, that was amazing. Great to see the awareness from him. But now they've got to watch out for the traffic. Now they're coming up on GT3s. And how you deal with traffic is going to be a big factor for many of these hypercars. Because as you can see, he had to come to the inside quite a bit. He was right in the centre of the why do I say circle? Almost right in the centre of the circuit. That kind of it just closes up your exit. Doesn't quite allow you to get that good exit out of the corner. Let's see what the other drivers are up to further down on the GT3 side of things. We've got Brandon Clanen still leading the race for the GT3s, and he's pulled out a little bit of a gap on Nonnen Macher, but he's still there. Any mistake and that Ferrari will pounce for sure. Wei Long Lin can still see them both, and Nico Dudek also can still see all three of them. And these two, Tsapanides and Vasiliadis, a little bit further behind, but they can all still see the race leader. However, you get to the point where sometimes, you'll get to the point where you can't see it, and then it's a big boo-boo, because then, it means you're a lot further behind than the guys up ahead, obviously. Why am I saying this? I don't know. I'm just talking rubbish at this point. And the fun thing is, because I am new to all of this, I still have no clue about how long the race is going to be. The race is going to be an hour, I know that, but I don't know where we are at the moment with that. So as you can see, 15 minutes left. We've only covered 10 minutes of action, and we've got our current standings shifting in P1 with Peterson P2 and Busby in P3, making a position off the start. So good stuff from the Porsche, taking advantage of all the chaos. And then Brandon Clanen leading the pack for the GT3s, with Nonnen Macher P2 and Wei Long Lin P3. And Yes, I did indeed forget, and I'll have to do all this again. Didn't have the input on there. Yeah, good stuff between Cordier and Samuel. Good space given. Just enough, though. Like, just enough. Janos Avanios into the pits with, yeah, again, as we said, 10 minutes into the race. It's a bit early, but I'm assuming it's for the damage he obtained when he went off the track before they even hit the two right-handers of the Lesmos. So I'm assuming that's why he's into the pits. Further up the grid, we have got Adol Peterson and Busby right up next to each other. Busby eyeing up the back end of that Toyota, maybe looking for a move into turn 2. Let's see how this goes. Slightly wider line, not quite maximising the... Oh my goodness, GT3 still there, and here he comes. Oh, Busby not able to take advantage of that chaos. The GT3 still stuck there, can't quite do anything. He was on the outside, so quite an odd position for the GT3 to be in, I think, and that's why the Toyota kind of struggled to make his way around, maybe struggling to interpret where he was going. Here goes Busby down the inside, not quite. We've still got Peterson in the race, well, sorry, I almost said race lead, P2 at the moment, trying to hold off the car behind, trying to hold off Busby as they make their way through traffic. OLR/Josh asking me as the commentator, have I got a favourite to take the championship? For the hypercars, I don't know. Again, like a couple of these names are very unfamiliar to me. So Schlichting's new, Peterson's new, Busby's new, Barschenk's new, Belder's new, Story familiar, Cordier's new. Those are all the new names. That makes up like 90% of the grid. So at the moment, I don't have much to go on. As the season progresses, though, I'll be able to give you a good answer. And like I said, I'm still getting used to all the different classes, all the different cars. In terms of the GT3 Championship, though, again, we do have some new cars, new drivers, but from the old ones that I know, Kalinin seems to be pretty good. Van Nagen, also a really solid guy. Tsapanides, Fasiliadis, all pretty good. Fasiliadis, yeah, he's kind of towards the middle of the pack. Yeah, I mean, Kalinin seems to be the logical answer at this point in time. It's going to be my. Don't take my word for this, but he could be a potential driver to take the championship at this point. I mean, using that logically, then say Schlichting is the other driver to take the championship, the driver to take the championship for the hypercars. And yeah, the gaps are already opening up. Plenty of spacing between these guys at the moment. Yes, Shane, Q and Belder still P6. Story still plodding along. Cordier trying to catch up to the back end of Story now. Cadillac trying to catch a Ferrari on home soil. So a good little battle between these two a little bit earlier. So we'll see how it happens. Yeah, Kalinin, yeah, he's pretty solid on ACC too. Now that's the other interesting thing as well, is how did the GT3 cars compare going from ACC to Le Mans Ultimate? Because again, I've only tried the hypercar, and that was for about 2 hours when I was struggling a lot with the braking and stuff. So yeah, I've got no clue. Apparently the braking's a lot better, like the braking and mechanics and stuff. So you guys will have to tell me. Yeah, consistency is a big part of winning a championship, isn't it? Fasiliadis, of course, nailed that last season at HSR Motorsport. I mean, he's still in this season, but he hasn't really. I don't think he's really pulled out too much. Well, I mean, it was only the first race of the season last week, so Actually can't really comment too much on it. Story though, looking in his mirror and finding a yellow Cadillac that is growing slightly larger by the second. Slightly down on power compared to ACC and definitely feel more agile. Interesting. Is that because they're LMGT3 cars or just regular? Again, like I said, I don't know anything about this. I'm assuming LMGT3 is slightly different from normal GT3 cars that they use in the Blancpain GT World Challenge Series. And then of course you've got ELMS. Well, we can worry about all that later because it's his favourite position to overtake Cartier down the inside of Story. And nicely done. Textbook position taken. Easy pickings. Cordier making some good progress up to P6 already, trying to catch up to the rear end of Sean Belder now in P5. He's already caught up to Story, who was a couple seconds ahead of Samuel, about 5 seconds at this point in time. Now he's managed to make up that distance. I'm sure he can make up some more distance to Belder, some more time. He's currently 7 seconds off that Ferrari ahead. Again, we'll have to wait and see how this thing goes. Only time will tell. All that Schlichting knows is he's in the lead in the Ferrari and Monza. So it's a good evening for him. Oh my goodness, we just see Lavagnos off into the gravel, maybe struggling to steer this thing. Oh my goodness. Is there a replay? Please tell me there's a replay. Can't quite find the replay. Yeah, Lavagnos in the gravel, struggling. As we now go flying up the grid once more. Ooh, this looks like an interesting battle. We've got Vasiliadis and Tsapanidis in shot. Tsapanidis is in the BMW ahead. Well, we've got no. Yes, it is. Sorry. Brain's feeling a bit brain dead tonight. Tsapanidis in the BMW ahead with Vasiliadis in the Ferrari behind, and this is the driver we were just talking about. Josh, I know you had a good title fight with him on the Pro-Am side of things last season. HSR GT3 ACC Season 6. Season 7 so far though. Yeah, I don't think he did too. I can't remember how last race went, in all honesty. This week's just absolutely destroyed any kind of sense of rhythm or any kind of sense of being a human at all. It's been a bit tough, but I kind of inflicted it on myself. So yeah, don't get too sympathetic. Yeah, they were made slower due to them not being far behind the LMP2 cars. I see. So they basically just needed these cars to be slower, much slower than the LMP2s. Interesting. I see. Hence less power. Gotcha. There we go. Josh, bringing me all the research I need. He's my chat GPT. Josh, what is the time? Well, I mean, you're in a different country at this point in time, aren't you? So, well, I mean, you could always convert, I guess. But yeah, apparently Vasiliadis came 6th last week, and as the commentator, I should know all about this. Kurt Peters, an ACC champion at HSR Motorsport. Hi, dude. How you doing? No worries for the broadcast. I do apologise for the quality at this point in time, but we are working on it. I'll make sure to do some more stuff with with the overlay and with yeah, I don't know, just the general quality, I think, because I've not been on it too much tonight, I'm afraid, but hopefully I can still entertain y'all, even if it is just, you know, keeping it on in the background or something. We've got plenty of cars catching up now, plenty of hypercars in the background, plenty of other cars being overtaken now, including the Mustang of Van Lagen. Stephen Melton, we're only going backwards actually. Melton's actually under threat from Montas now in the other BMW, and look at that pace difference. Like I said, first time I'm doing this, first time I'm watching an LMU race, and coming to the inside, BMW's looking for it. I think the McLaren started turning in really early to try and dissuade the BMW from going around the outside, and kind of worked, I guess. Kind of. I mean, yeah, I don't know. It was a bit of an odd move. Just came in to the inside, didn't quite, yeah, turned in really early. I love the camera shake. Apologies. Cool. Matthew Reynolds also on a result from a hypercar, not the most ideal camera angle, but yet currently P almost last for the GT3s. This is P penultimate last, Harold the Cook, and Lavagnos, the LMU car. Well, I mean, they're all LMU in it. The hypercar currently in the pits, and we've also got Francesco Rancesco also in the pits, currently last for the GT3s. As we now check up on the rest of the grid, Peterson. I'm assuming he's from the SRT, so it'll probably be something like Peterson. I don't know. Again, like, pronunciation is the commentator's curse. We get to chuck out commentator's curse to you guys, but we then have to deal with these names, which I think is a fair exchange, to be fair. Josh still in the UK currently sipping Copperberg in a hot tub. So is it tomorrow you're leaving? I'm guessing you're leaving tomorrow because you said you'd help out with the race tomorrow, but well, anyways. Also, thank you VDB Sim Sport saying quality is good. Cool, awesome, but we can make it better. We can make it better. We'll make it better next week for sure. And also, just a big thank you to you guys who are sticking around. I have to say, it is nice having people to chat to, because I'm not gonna lie, the action has died down really quite quickly. Hence why I get plenty of time to just think about how to think about all the overlays and stuff. But I mean, technically, because it's my first time, I don't know what the quality could be. So maybe I'm overthinking it. I don't know, or maybe I'm underthinking it. Maybe it could be way better than this. We will see. I'm sure next round's broadcast will be even more entertaining. Will be even better. Now, what happened to this dude? Valentin Cordier. He was on the back end of Caro Samuel, came into a braking zone into turn 2, locked the rears, smashed into this Cadillac, allowed him back past, and then overtook him again. Caught up to the rear end of the next car, Mikey Story, in the Ferrari, overtook him into his favourite braking zone, and now finds himself 2 positions down in P8. Something happened, and I don't know what, because again, software, hardware, same thing at this point, pressing buttons. I'm kind of scared, because then I end up either muting myself or maybe even just completely closing the stream, or maybe even just exiting the game. Who knows? with my inexperience, anything can happen here. Cordier, they're definitely one of the faster drivers out there this evening in the Cadillac, at least compared to the other hypercar drivers lower down. Craig Hewlett currently in P9, and yeah, seems to be struggling slightly, not managing to keep pace with the rest of the hypercars, but still sending it, still out there, still doing his thing. Good on you, mate. Now looking at the gaps here, we've got a 2 to 3 second gap between Cordier and Samuel, and then a massive 8 second gap between Story and Samuel, roughly. Again, these are quite quite rough numbers, quite a rough estimate. So I think Cordier is definitely going to catch Samuel at some point. You can see him ahead. Going to make his way past the GT3 at this point. So you can see him, probably sizing him up for another move into turn 2. And then, yeah, it's going to be another massive gap to make up to the back end of Story to make the same move. But he did do that earlier. Have I been saying but a lot this evening? I could use some other words, can't I? However, otherwise, therefore, well, therefore is more kind of because of something, isn't it? It's not quite. I'm lonely. I'm to that point where I'm thinking about what I'm saying, which isn't too bad, I guess. Cool, but here we go. Battle on once again between Cairo Samuel and Valentin Cordier, but he might catch him before he even gets to turn 2, going round the outside into turn 1 though. Is he going to manage to hold on to that position? Because if he can, he'll be on the inside for the next corner again. His favourite overtaking spot on the circuit. And Cairo Samuel still on the outside, not quite ahead enough to go defensive. We've got a Ferrari in the background, we'll address that later. Just enough space given here. Samuel cuts the track slightly and backs out of it to allow Cordier through. I'm not sure whether that's a flash of frustration or a flash of admiration. Frustration, admiration. I'd be a terrible rap artist. So yeah, Cordier, good move once again down the inside. Is there a replay? No, there's not. It's not a replay. I thought I'd figured out the keybind for the replay, but it turns out I haven't. Shift out, no, no, still there. I'm pressing buttons and I'm kind of scared at what's happening. Oh my goodness, that thing's not there. Sean Belder, what has happened to him? Into the pits. He was P2 earlier, P3, dropped down to P4. I'm assuming he was the Ferrari in the background. Ah, gotcha. So yeah, not good for Belder. He did start out really well in his qualifying. He was up into about P2, P3, and then the rest of the drivers came past as the race progressed, and now he suddenly finds himself in the pits. Is that going to be a technical issue that's maybe forced him to retire, or is it a physical issue? Is it something like driving into a wall, maybe? Tends to put an end to your race, especially if you're driving one of these hypercars at about 200 miles an hour and you smack into the wall at the end of turn 1 as you make your way around Curva Blassono. If you were to smack into a wall at Ascari, not really too much of a big deal. You've got a dirt trap or a gravel trap to slow you down somewhat, and it's one of the slower corners on the circuit. Same with Variante. Where do you guys reckon you can get the most damage out of in a crash? Also, Kurt Peters saying that that Craig Hewlett lost his DRS button. Well, he doesn't need a DRS button to make a position. He's already got one. Up into P8 goes Hewlett after Sean Belder's DNF. So, again, kind of that thing of motorsport. Never give up. Anything can happen. It usually does. And Senin Ra, hello sir. No worries for the stream. Like I said, it's my first time. I have to say I do quite like the new cars. I do quite like the hypercars. It's one of those cars that makes me want to hop in and drive it, but then the moment I get in and I have to deal with the ABS issues, yeah, it kind of makes me think otherwise after about 2 hours in the cockpit. But I'm sure I'll get used to it now that I've got the game. Now that I can watch it and see what the action's like. I might get involved in some other leagues. I don't know. Maybe if I can't figure out the stream stuff, maybe Craig will let me join if there's a vacant spot. I don't think so. We have all the spots pretty much full on this, but hopefully, as I said, we can get the overlays and stuff working. We can get the telemetry and stuff doing quite well too. Always helps having a co-commentator as well, but you know, you can't ask for too much. I appreciate that, Senin. I have to say, this is the most chat interaction I've had, I would say, in a week. But on Wednesday I was doing a stream for an F1 league, and we had about 20 guys all saying stuff. Like, to be fair, they were random people. You guys are better. I think you guys are better. So at the moment, 3 seconds between Schlichting and Pedersen, with Barschenk actually only just about ahead of behind there. Yeah, Barschenk just ahead of Busby. Oh, and he's just got into the gravel, and we've just lost all of that behind some trees, and all we can see is the back end of a yellow Ferrari. Where is my replay? I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna bring it. I'm just gonna bring it. I'm just gonna. Is it this button? Is it this? No, that's pause. No, don't do that. Yeah, I will not play around with the buttons. I thought I could maybe do something there. I thought I could get it. No, apparently not. Issues for Busby allows Marchenk straight past the yellow Ferrari, taking advantage of the Porsche's mishaps. Was that a gain in time though? Was he catching up to the back end and then, you know, taking that position because it was faster, or was it purely because of the mistake? Is it maybe that Barschenk is making more mistakes just like that into the gravel in the chicane? I would say the second chicane, but it's on this circuit layout. It's the first one, even though it's called Seconda Variante. That Seconda doesn't sound very Italian, I'm not gonna lie. Hence the initial trouble with saying it. So not much else going on when it comes to the racing circuit-wise for the hypercars. And because I can't quite see where the gaps are, oh well, we caught this one just in time. We've got Non and Micah having to defend from. Oh no, that's not well done. I see. Yeah, it helps having the deltas up, doesn't it? Way long in, quite a ways back from that battle. Nico Dudek, same. Tapanidis also quite a ways back. Vasiliadis being overtaken by Cordier. Not into 10-2, which is a miracle. This seems to be the closest gap. Moulton and Van Lagen. Moulton in the McLaren behind, and Van Lagen in the almost said Mercedes, in the Mustang. And yeah, I didn't really have experience with Moulton. I know Van Lagen's decent. Van Lagen's okay. He's a decent driver. But yeah, Moulton, I've got no clue. This is kind of like a wild card. Currently P8. Just about managing to keep up with Van Lagen, so he must be fairly decent if he can do that. For them to catch up to Vasiliadis, then that's going to be a different task entirely, because Van Lagen is known as a very... Sorry, not Van Lagen, Vasiliadis is known as a very consistent driver. Well, as I say that, he takes a wider line into the chicane, maybe not the most ideal line, and yeah, loses some time. Irony, it's the commentator's curse. Oh yeah, Vasiliadis is so consistent. Inconsistency. It's the kind of that's the kind of stuff I can do. Also, I don't know why there's music playing in the background. I turned down the volume settings, the UI sound volume settings, and it's still going. And I pulled out of the multiplayer thing, and it's still going. So I don't know whether it's all because I actually need to restart the entire game, or whether it's just because I am technologically incompetent. I'd like to think I'm fairly decent. I'm not sure. Well, those two statements contradict each other, don't they? I would like to think I'm fairly decent, but I can't. Yeah, I just can't. I don't know. I don't understand. Anyways, nothing really going on for the GT3s at the moment. Van Lagen there, and then Moulton a little further back. Borgat still within eyesight. Mumtaz, yeah, and these again, Matthew Reynolds, Inception Racing, yeah, and then the couple DNFs. But at the moment then, we've got Philipp Schlichting leading in the Ferrari. I like that. You can see how far apart they are like that. It's a nice little thing. Here we go, on board with Pedersen. This is the view from the Toyota. Currently in P2, chasing the race leader. 3 seconds off of him. It's probably one of the closest gaps that we see on the leaderboard at the moment compared to the rest of the grid. And then we've got Matthias Barschenk just making his way down the main straight now. Isaac Busby still chasing him, still wanting that position back after the spin earlier. Self-inflicted, I should say, not Barschenk inflicted. And Mikey Story into the pits. Hopefully not for a technical issue, hopefully just a pit stop. And there we go, the car is up. Not quite sure how long the pit stop's going to be, and Craig Hewlett gains a position because of that. Still at it. DRS or ERS open either way. I'm not sure which way around he can take. Yeah, there's not much going on with the circuit at the moment except this potential battle between Van Lagen and Moulton. Moulton just staying in the slipstream, managing to close a little bit of distance to Van Lagen ahead. Closing some ground under braking. Yeah, not quite managing. Oh, error from the Mustang though. Overcorrection, and the McLaren round the outside. Is there enough space? Just enough given by the Mustang. Didn't really back out of it. But the McLaren taking a gamble, or just a very well calculated move. Here we go, though, Van Lagen right up behind him, going to use the Mustang's power to try and get round about it, to curve over to the left, and Moulton still on that racing line, maybe moving to defend. Nope, Van Lagen's move to lose, coming to the inside, but under braking, Moulton just moves ahead and takes the position. A move that was coming for quite a while. Moulton up into P7 now. On the straight, though, could we see the Mustang come back yet again? Could we see its power kick in and somehow close a good half a second gap to the car ahead in the space of about 2 kilometers? No, not quite. Also, don't quote me on that distance, by the way. I don't have my research up, so I don't know whether it's actually 2 kilometers or whether it's just 1 kilometer. What I know is this straight is also really long, especially with no chicane, and a Mustang on your rear end will make it seem like an even longer one. Moulton, yeah, he's staring. Well, he's having a Mustang right up behind him. Well, where's that Mustang going? Well, he's already passed, and through goes a Ferrari around the outside as well, just about managing to control the rear end in doing so. And Van Lagen takes the position back from Moulton, so we could see a good fight here actually between Moulton and Van Lagen for some positions. I realised my cursor was not quite away all that time. Into the double right-hander, and as the hypercars come round, yeah, it's a different kind of game when you have to think about these fast cars coming through. And for the faster cars, they need to remember they are much faster than these GT3s, so they need to keep that in mind and not destroy these guys as well. So let's see, any other battles to keep an eye on? Matthew Reynolds, De Cook, these guys down in the pit lane. Barschenk making some moves. Busby hit the pit lane. Cordier up to 4th, still chasing these guys up ahead. 30 seconds off of Barschenk at this point in time, or shall I say 24 seconds if you wanted to be a little bit more precise. Caro Samuel, quite a distance back. Craig Hewlett, and even further while back. And then Isaac Busby. Not sure whether I should say Isaac, Isaac. I'm not sure about the pronunciation. Busby sounds very British though. So I would assume it's just Isaac, but then why wouldn't you just spell it Isaac? Why would you go to the trouble of saying Izaak? That's a very odd way of spelling it. We've got our top 5 essentially all in the pits except for Peterson, who will continue onwards. And I'm assuming we are hitting that midpoint of the race at this point in time. I should just get a. Why don't I have just an actual timer going rather than guess? Because again, what you guys are seeing is exactly what's on my screen. So I don't know any more than you guys what's going on. Hopefully we can fix that come 2 weeks, come the next race. I will try and chat to some contacts. Anyways, well, hopefully there will be no contact between Busby and Bashenk, because we've got Bashenk now just fresh out of the pits with Busby right on his rear end, and Busby's tyres will of course be all up to temperature, while Bashenk is just fresh out of the pits, maybe trying to get temperature into those tyres as quickly as he can, hopefully not going to be locking up much. I'm not sure how long it takes for tyres to warm up in LMU, or if they got tyre warmers. Again, I'm so sorry for the yeah, I don't know. I am so sorry for not knowing. I should do my research. I should know all this. I don't quite want to move away from this battle yet, though. Busby looks to the inside. Unfazed Ferrari. And on the exit though, the Porsche seems to have had a little extra traction, and the Ferrari knows it, pulls to the inside. Busby making the most of the slipstream at the moment. Rider behind him pulls to the outside. Let's see how this works out into turn 1. Long right-hander, yep, so the Ferrari gets ahead. Under braking though, will that Porsche manage to make a position, maybe move to the inside? No. They're still neck and neck here though. A little longer on the brakes than I anticipated. And it's still Bajenk holding on to P3 at the moment. And all while this is happening, Cordier manages to close a little bit of distance between these guys. Or to these guys, I shouldn't say between them, because there is nothing between them. There's just about a GT3 that can fit in there. Plenty of credit cards and plenty of sheets of paper. Into Ascari, that was going to be a tight move. Maybe not enough space for a piece of paper between these guys. If they were to collide, obviously, there is not space for any pieces of paper in between. And Craig Hewlett is a DNF as well, which leaves us with 7 hypercars. Cairo Samuel being last, Story penultimate last, and Cordier being third last. I do like these positions, I have to say. Isaac Busby, 4/10 off of Bashenk. It's got the slipstream, GT3 coming out of the pit, so he can't quite come to the inside. And yeah, that Ferrari defending that line into turn 1 because he knows it's so good. But Busby is still there, he's using the slipstream, and is that the Ferrari trying to break that slipstream, trying to catch the Porsche off guard into turn 2. Oh, well, it's working so far. He's still ahead of the Porsche as they now head through the 2 right-handers of first Curva de Lesmo and second Curva de Lesmo. And there's a GT3 to keep in mind as well, but that came at a very opportune moment, not right between them, which is good, or halfway through one of them. Oh dear, the sim didn't add my fuel during my pit stop for some reason, only the energy, and got a DT. So terrible for Craig Hewlett. That is the reason why he has opted to end his race. I don't know whether it was... So did you then press the button to say DNF, or was it... was it the game that actually said, yeah, actually, you know, that you've had a drive through, like that's it, like see you later. I'm assuming it was because you got a DT. You were like, yeah, that's it, evening over for me. In which case, you know, it's not exactly. I mean, me personally, I would go to the end because we've already had one or two hypercars already leave. So even if you do get a drive-through and you get dropped a long way back, you know, we do it for the fun of it. Busby having a lot of fun though, trying to get past Bashek. Well, should I say not having much fun because he's still stuck behind him. Bashek still holding on to that position, doing very well to defend through corners 1 and 2. Oh, fair. So yeah, you'd have to pit twice. Oh well. Yeah, I definitely need to have a chat with that DSRT commentator this week, or sorry, I should say next week, because my weekend's going to be absolutely nuts, as the previous week has been already. Kurt Peters agreeing that pit stops are weird in LMU. What I can tell you is weird is the slipstream battle. I swear he's already changed the line so many times, going on the defense once again into this long right-hander. Is it worth all this defending from the Ferrari, because that Porsche has just got so much pace? He's just constantly assaulting him, and he's closer than ever as they head onto the main straight at 0.1 seconds, 0.0 seconds now as he makes his way around the outside into turn 1. They're virtually side by side. Again, the inside line for the Ferrari though as they head through the right-hander. Is he going to come out ahead by the time they hit turn 2? Yes, he is. Will he go on the defence again into turn 2? Can he even come over to the outside? Oh my goodness, there's contact. The Ferrari taken out by the Porsche. Busby has just hit the rear end of Bashenk. He's had enough. Oh my goodness, maybe just a bit of miscommunication there between the two. Is Bashenk okay though? He's still moving. So yeah, still moving for Bashenk, and he was definitely the slower driver between the two. Oh, and look at that, there we go. Busby allowing him back pass again. Top notch, guys. Good job here. No game sound. Cool. Is that better? Pressing buttons gets scary. Pressing any buttons is kind of scary, and it is very scary for Bashenk because he's now got that Porsche once again alongside down the inside just out of space given. No, yet again the Ferrari finds itself spun out and allow him space to come back on. I don't know. And I'll turn down the volume. There we go. I swear I'm gonna. Tonight is fun in a whole different sense of the word. Cool, that should be a bit better, hopefully. Good thing we haven't done any onboards. Well, we have done onboards, but obviously we've been muted. Do we take the chance to hear what it sounds like? Oh my goodness, I'm on Discord as well. Oh my goodness. Standards of professionalism on the stream, absolutely appalling. I think we should fire whoever's running the stream. Honestly, he's just too much. How can he make such basic mistakes? Busby making a basic mistake going into the gravel there. Maybe making a mistake in colliding with Bashek. Well, definitely a mistake. Although I have to say it might have been on Bashek in terms of space being given. Again, Cordier just ahead of Cairo Samuel in a familiar place. Mikey Story down to P7, so I wonder whether something happened during the pit stop phase, potentially. Yeah, I'm slacking massively. I do apologise. But it makes it all up more fun because now I think it's my first time doing this, so I've got if this is the bar at the moment for the rest of the season, if this is the starting point, imagine how could all be towards the end of it. You start at the bottom, you can only go upwards, I guess. Don't make your story though. He's looking to go forwards and upwards from P7, P last at the moment. And yeah, Craig saying he crashed on Scary and hit it. Yeah, I mean, I have very limited info. Yeah, absolutely. When I get the LMU broadcast stuff, I'll definitely do a lot better. Yeah, this is very much a last second kind of thing. The week's been incredibly busy. Just not had enough time to get around to it. So yeah, actually no, I don't know. I kind of want to put it in my diary right now, but we've got these two right over behind each other. We've got Story gaining on Samuel slightly, Ferrari versus Cadillac. We saw Story and Samuel go up against Cordier earlier. Story seems very consistent. Samuel also consistent. Yeah, I don't know. Or is he gaining that? No, actually Samuel's over here. Never mind. That is actually Cordier because it's a yellow Cadillac, isn't it? Yes. So yeah, definitely having those broadcast bits and bobs would definitely be very, very helpful indeed. Yeah. And I guess that's why you ask the professionals. Got still out on track, P11, P12 for Monza at the moment. In the BMW, these guys all still going. Lots of separation between them. So again, a lot of action, unfortunately. I guess such is the way of WEC sometimes. Although to be fair, we've got Vasiliadis and Ferrari. Battle of the heavyweights. Well, I should say one heavyweight and a very light Ferrari. Montevero on the car behind. Woo-wee! And the braking, catching that Mustang very easily, but on the straight, of course. Mustang, when it gets down the power, will have a little extra oomph in that straight line. Into Kurt's, I know it's you, Kurt Peters, I know it's you, Kurt. A little less car sound, and it's perfect. Let's turn that down just a little bit. There we go, just a smidge. 0.6 decibels. Are we looking at another decibel or so, or how's this sounding? I have to say the car sounds have been absolutely amazing though. Both the GT3s and the hypercars, absolutely amazing. I still need to get a start up in the pits though, so that we can hear the electric. I know, I was talking about this earlier, Craig. I turned down the sound. I turned down the UI music sound volume, and it didn't do anything. And I thought it did initially, because when I turned it down, oh cool, the music stopped, and then it just started up again. It's kind of lobby music. As I said, the standards for tonight's stream are very low at this point, I think. So yeah, we can only go up from here, I guess. You know. But yeah, I can't get the music stopped. It's really annoying. So you are hearing music, yes. I've turned down my volume to the point where I can maybe just about hear it, like just. I can still hear all the cars and they all still sound amazing. So if you turn down your volume just enough, you might be able to ignore it. Or if I speak loud enough and constantly enough, then you might not hear it. But I'm not really good at talking non-stop. However, Vasiliadis is good at non-stop pressure on Van Lagen. Here's a Cadillac going around the inside as well. 3 wide, now 2 wide as Vasiliadis is making his way past Van Lagen into the final corner. He's got that move pretty much sealed, doesn't he? Van Lagen, though, thinks otherwise, gives him a shunt from behind, says, I'm not quite happy with that, but hey-ho, I'll let it go and give you a boost on the exit of the corner as well. And there we go. Van Lagen loses out to Vasiliadis on P5. Oh no, we've got trouble for a GT3 car moving slowly. Use that. Who is that? It's not Melton. Was that Gas? Maybe just a dodgy exit? Moving slowly? I think it's the other BMW though. Is it Sapanides? I think it was something like this, moving slowly, yes. So where is Vasiliadis in relation to him? Well, he's a ways back. Oh, I heard something. Oh yeah, there is a car off in the background. Now, whether that is, I don't know. Yeah, if we could get the broadcast bits and pieces sorted out, yeah, that would be amazing, definitely. That's on me, though. I've got no clue, just went off in the background. These guys all still racing somewhat, yeah, all still doing their thing. Yeah, 2.3 seconds between Peterson and Shifting at the moment. Shifting's done very well to keep the Toyota in sight. Yeah, he'll have to work a little bit harder if he wants to catch up to the rear end of that Japanese vehicle. Also, I haven't been checking my YouTube check for a while because I managed to have my timer on for some reason. We've got some support for Kenneth Dahl Peterson from Football Quiz. He's doing very well to hold on to that position. He's still 2 seconds ahead of Shifting. Let's go for a quick little summary of where we're at. 4 minutes to go with the race. Somehow we've managed to survive 4 minutes of this broadcast. In my opinion, a very big miracle. We've got Peterson still leading, Shifting P2 and Busby P3 in the hypercars with Kleinen, Nonnenmacher and Dudek in the podium positions for the GT3s at the moment. And I've done it again. Yes, if anything, this will give y'all a better appreciation for what happens when we do things properly, and when we put the preparation in, the hard work, and all the fancy graphics and stuff. Unless I just do this, just pure racing. Yes, stream testing would be great. Yeah, just to get the broadcast bits and bobs sorted out. Definitely, I know who to chat to, and I was due to have a chat with him a couple of weeks ago, actually, or I actually do commentary for the 2.4 hour, but then life stuff got in the way, and yeah, it's been a bit of a slug. But yeah, we'll definitely do some testing, do some fiddling around, and we have got a very slow Mr. Mumtaz. Well, I say very slow, a stationary Mumtaz in the background. Where is Mumtaz on the leaderboard? Let's wait a minute. Mumtaz is currently P penultimate. Oh, sorry, P last. Yeah, P12, and he's stationary on the side of the circuit. Technical issues, potentially. He's not going anywhere. Engine is still going. I would assume some technical issues then. Anyways, we'll get back to that later because we do actually have a sub 2 second gap between Peterson and Schlichting heading into the final couple laps of the race. This could get interesting here. Race leaders potentially about to have a battle. Not quite the best exit for the Toyota because there was a Mustang in the way, and the Ferrari is now catching him on the final corner now, and these drivers have only 2 or 3 more laps to go before the end of the race. So really, Schlichting needs to get this move done quick, and he needs to get it done early on so that he doesn't get caught out by the end of the race, or that the end of the race doesn't come first. And I'm sure both of them are absolutely full sending it now, full energy, full battery. Yeah, absolutely hollering it down turn 1. and slicing through traffic. We'll see how that happens for GT3s though. It's going to be interesting to see how they manage to survive the slower cars. Right in behind him, we've got the Ferrari right up on the rear end of that Porsche. But no moves really could be made until we get to the final corner really, unless something goes wrong. Unless we get like a GT3 that's just sat on the apex or sat on the exit. Oh, mistake from Peterson, a little wide onto grass and the gravel. Or maybe throwing a dummy there, dummy from Schlichting. Or maybe just a peek to see whether the door will get left open. It was left open, but he didn't quite move for it. Oh, it's tense. Edge of your seat kind of stuff here. Schlichting not quite close enough for a move this time. Very slow moving GT3, allowing them past. Also, how do the rules work for GT3s allowing hypercars past? Because that's only the same as the GT3 GT4 relationship, where the GT4s only need to race along their thing. But I think that is the end of the race. Peterson takes the first race win of the season. Round 1 wrapped up for him. Schlichting close on the final stretch, but still unfortunately unable to make his way past the Ferrari. In the end, did only finish P2. Oh my goodness, there's contact. The GT3's not quite finished with their race yet. Well, I'm assuming those guys that just crossed did. Brandon Clayton will be the next GT3 to cross to be a podium finish. He's got Nico Dudek and Nonin Macher right behind him as well for P2 and P3. And again, quite a quiet race for him. Nothing really going on too much. Valentin Cordier only managing P5 despite his awesome performance tonight and his great overtakes. And yeah, Kalinin for United Motorsports in the number 59, coming around the final corner now and across the line to take his first race win of the season. Good stuff from him. Nico Dudek, P2 for him, and Nonin Macher quite a ways back. Already DNF'd. I'm assuming because he knew the race was over anyways. So yeah, the end of the race evening. It's been very interesting, I have to say. Very, very interesting. Yeah, it was fun. It was it was somewhat fun. Probably great for you guys just to laugh at me and, you know, enjoy my confusion with the game and why there is some random music still playing in the background and keybinds and all that sort of fun. But like we said, hopefully next time we'll have it all sorted out. ACC though, I know what I'm doing somewhat. I've already got some software for that and stuff. But yeah, I mean, if we end up switching to the Lemar Ultimate, yeah, I definitely hope that the software we use for LMU is good. So yeah, next week we are back on for the ACC Championship, Season 7 going at the moment, Round 2, and then it's 2 weeks until the next LMU race. So I actually have enough time to do some testing and make sure everything was fine. Stop making stuff to close. To close? You mean so close? Or I don't know. I mean, to be fair, even just this thumbnail was a bit late. To be fair, you know, it's excuses. Quote, come the excuses now. Yeah, it was a busy week. I had a lot of real life stuff going on. Anyways, well, let's leave all of that. Congrats to the winners indeed, Zenin, keeping us on point. Yes, we had Peterson in the Toyota managing to hold on to the race lead and take the win. Actually, I think we can see Peterson right now in the thumbnail as well. But it's the order's reversed here. The Ferrari came second, the Toyota came first, and then of course Kleinin won for the GT3s. And all the results and stuff will be going up on SimGrid in due course. I believe it's about a week. Depends on when all the incidents get reported and stuff, and Stu would take a look at stuff. I'm assuming this is again all working the same as ACC. Probably doesn't, so we'll see. But anyways, that is the end of our stream tonight, and we will be back next week for ACC again 8 PM. BST, not GMT, BST, and then 2 weeks until we are back again, 8 p.m. BST, not GMT, BST, for the second round of the LMU almost said GT3 LMU Season 2 Championship. It has been an absolute holler.